I'm Bryce Coleman, 38 years old, and exactly 3 weeks and 2 days ago, I discovered my wife Rachel has been sleeping with her boss for the last 6 months. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I did what any good electrician would do when facing a problem. I traced the circuit, found the short, and planned my fix. The restaurant she picked was one of those chain steakhouses where everything's bigger than it needs to be. You know the type: dim lighting, leather booths, and steaks that cost more than my daily rate. Rachel always chose places like this when she had uncomfortable news to deliver, usually something she knew I wouldn't like hearing. "You've been real quiet tonight," she said, fingers tapping nervously against her beer bottle. She was anxious. That one tell gave away everything I needed to know. "Just thinking through a job," I replied, cutting my ribeye methodically. "Been a long day running wire at that new subdivision in Cedar Park. Bryce, we need to talk about something important." There it was. Those 7 words that change everything. I set my knife down and looked at her. Really looked. Rachel was 35, still had that effortless beauty that made other women study her like she was some kind of puzzle. Tonight, though, something was different. Something guilty was radiating off her like heat from a bad transformer. "I'm listening," I said calmly. She took a deep breath. "I've been seeing someone from work. It's Owen. Owen Mitchell." Owen Mitchell, owner of Mitchell Development and Construction, the outfit where Rachel worked as office manager. Guy was maybe 45, married to some former real estate hotshot, worth somewhere around $10 million from what I'd heard around town. The kind of man who wore his success like expensive cologne, expecting everyone to notice. I should have felt that gut punch, that surge of rage people talk about. Instead, I felt oddly calm, almost relieved, because I'd known for exactly 3 weeks and 2 days, ever since I spotted her silver Honda at the Marriott during my lunch break, parked right next to Owen's black F-250. "How long?" I asked, keeping my voice level. "Does it really matter?" "Yeah, it does," she flinched. "About 6 months. 6 months of lies. 6 months of kissing me goodbye every morning while planning her escape. 6 months of our kids, Dean, who's 16, and Paige, who's 9. Eating dinner with a mother, living a double life. You in love with him?" Her face did something complicated, caught between guilt and defiance. "I don't know what I feel anymore. When I'm with Owen, I feel alive, like I matter, like I'm visible." She paused. "When I'm with you, Bryce, I feel like your secretary, like the person who pays the bills while you chase your contractor dreams." She leaned forward. "I want a divorce." "Okay," I said simply. Her eyes went wide. "Okay? That's it? What do you want me to do, Rachel? Beg you to stay? You've already made your choice." I signaled for the check. $137 to end a 15-year marriage. We drove home in silence. When we pulled into our driveway in Cedar Park, she turned to me. "I'll stay at my sister's tonight, maybe for a while." "Probably for the best," I agreed. After she left, I sat in my garage workshop and pulled out my phone. Opened the folder where I'd been collecting evidence for 3 weeks and 2 days. Photos of her car at that hotel. Screenshots of our phone bill showing hundreds of texts to Owen's number. Receipts I'd found in her purse. Fancy dinners she claimed were work meetings. Gas station receipts from parts of town she had no business being in. I had been building a case. I just hadn't known what kind of case it would be. The law office of Murphy and Associates sat in a strip mall between a dry cleaner and a tax prep place. My lawyer, Sean Murphy, had handled my business contracts when I started my electrical company 5 years back. When I called him the morning after Rachel's confession, he cleared his schedule. "Bryce," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. "I've looked over your situation. Texas is a community property state, but since y'all don't have a prenup, this could get messy." I opened the folder. Numbers swam across the pages. Our house in Cedar Park that we'd renovated together. Savings accounts we'd built over the years. My business assets, 3 work trucks, tools, equipment worth maybe $60,000. Rachel's 401k from Mitchell Development. 15 years of marriage reduced to spreadsheets. "How dirty you want to play this?" Sean asked. "I want what's fair, but I also want to know exactly who I'm dealing with. Owen Mitchell. What do you know about him?" Sean pulled up something on his computer. Developer, philanthropist, serves on the Chamber of Commerce board. Married to Sophia Mitchell for 18 years. She used to move serious real estate before she quit to play housewife. He paused. Word around town is Mitchell's had affairs before. Several. His wife know? Hard to say. She keeps a low profile these days. But there's talk among the contractors who've worked his projects. I leaned back in my chair. What if I told you I wanted to meet her, Sophia Mitchell? Sean raised an eyebrow. That's playing with fire, buddy. Maybe. Or maybe it's leveling the playing field. After that meeting, I drove home to find Dean, my 16-year-old, sitting at the kitchen counter with his laptop open. He looked up when I walked in, his face carefully neutral, in that way teenagers perfect. Mom called, he said flatly. Wants to have dinner this weekend. Talk about the transition, whatever that means. I poured coffee from the pot Dean had made. Kid was responsible like that, always thinking ahead. What'd you tell her? That I'd think about it. He paused. Dad, I know what's going on. I'm not stupid. I sat, across from him. How much do you know? Enough. I've heard you and Mom fighting when you thought we were asleep. I've seen how she acts when her phone rings, how she leaves the room, drops her voice to a whisper. His jaw tightened. And yesterday I found something on her iPad she forgot to log out of. He turned his laptop toward me. On screen was a messaging app I didn't recognize. Messages between Rachel and someone saved as O were visible. They're not exactly hiding it, Dean said, his voice flat with disgust. My chest tightened. Son, I'm sorry you had to see that. Are you getting divorced? Yeah, we are. He nodded slowly. Good. She doesn't deserve you, Dad, and she sure as hell doesn't deserve us. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Sean had mentioned. Sophia Mitchell, former real estate agent who'd given up her career for her husband's success. Living in the shadow of a man who apparently collected affairs like some guys. Collect classic cars. I pulled out my phone and found her Instagram. The profile was private, but her picture showed a woman with dark hair and intelligent eyes standing in front of what looked like an art gallery. Her bio read, former realtor, current observer, always finding beauty in unexpected places. I sent a follow request. Then I opened her public Facebook page, recent posts about local art shows, a check-in at a gallery downtown, a shared article about supporting small businesses, a woman who'd clearly lost herself in someone else's ambition. My phone buzzed. Sophia Mitchell had accepted my follow request. I smiled. Game on. The Austin Art Walk happened the first Thursday of every month downtown. I'd seen Sophia post about it, some emerging artist showcase at a gallery on East 6th. I showed up in clean jeans and a button-down. Nothing too formal, but respectable, like I belonged there. The gallery was all white walls and track lighting, filled with paintings that probably meant something deep to somebody. I accepted a plastic cup of cheap wine from a volunteer and scanned the room. Sophia stood alone in front of a large canvas, swirls of blue and gray that looked like storm clouds over water. I walked over and stood beside her, studying the same painting. What do you see when you look at this? I asked quietly. She turned, surprised, then smiled. A real smile, not the practiced kind you see at these events. Honestly, I see someone trying to capture that exact moment before everything falls apart. That tension right before the storm breaks and destroys everything. Pretty specific. I used to sell houses. Specificity was my job. You learn to read what people really want versus what they say they want. She extended her hand. Sophia Mitchell. Bryce Coleman. I shook her hand, firm grip, confident. I'm an electrician. Run my own outfit here in Austin. I follow you on Instagram. Your posts about art are actually insightful, not just the usual gallery talk. She laughed. That's a low bar, but thank you. We spent the next hour walking through the gallery. Sophia had this way of explaining art that made it accessible without dumbing it down. She talked about negative space, about how what artists chose not to show was often as important as what they revealed. Like reading a blueprint, sometimes the empty spaces tell you more than the filled ones. I miss this, she said quietly, standing before a sculpture made of twisted metal. Being around creativity, having real conversations about meaning instead of just managing social calendars and charity galas. Why'd you stop? My husband's business took off about 8 years ago. Big commercial projects, residential developments. I needed to become a certain kind of wife overnight. The kind who hosts dinners for city council members and sits on nonprofit boards. Makes him look stable and community-minded in the business. Journal. She paused. The kind who doesn't have her own career that might compete for attention. Sounds lonely. She looked at me directly. It is. My phone buzzed. Text from Rachel. Need to discuss custody. Can you meet tomorrow afternoon? I silenced it without looking. Sorry. Where were we? Talking about loneliness, though I think we were both being polite about what it really is. What is it really? Surrender. We gave up pieces of ourselves to make other people comfortable and successful. Now, we're not sure how to get those pieces back. She gestured at the painting we'd started with. Like that storm. Sometimes destruction is the only way to clear the sky. The honesty hit like a live wire. Can I buy you coffee? There's a place around the corner where we can talk without pretending to understand modern art. She smiled. I'd like that. The coffee shop was small and dim, the kind of place where conversations felt private even with strangers at the next table. Sophia ordered espresso. I got black coffee, nothing fancy. I should tell you something, I said carefully. I didn't find that gallery opening by accident. I followed you on Instagram because I wanted to meet you. Sophia's expression didn't change. I know, Bryce. An electrician I've never heard of suddenly follows me and shows up at a gallery I posted about. Plus, you were studying me more than the art. She sipped her espresso. I looked you up while you were ordering coffee. My pulse quickened. And? Electrical contractor, married to Rachel Coleman, office manager at Mitchell Development, my husband's company. Her voice stayed steady, but I caught the slight tightening around her eyes. My chest tightened. I can explain. Please do. I took a breath. 3 weeks and 2 days ago, I found out my wife's been having an affair with your husband. She told me 4 days ago she wants a divorce. I spent those 3 weeks trying to understand who I was dealing with. That led me to you. Sophia set down her cup carefully. Her hands were steady, but I could see the tension in her jaw. How long has it been going on? 6 months, according to Rachel. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's actually longer than Owen's affairs usually last. He must really like her specifically. That's unusual for him. You knew about his affairs. I've known about Owen's cheating for years. Not always the specific women, but definitely the pattern. Late nights with weak excuses, charges on credit cards I'm not supposed to monitor, lipstick that wasn't mine on his shirt collar. She met my eyes. I hired a private investigator 8 months ago. He's documented 4 different women Owen's been involved with over the past 2 years alone, including your wife. The revelation hit like a physical blow. 4 women. Owen collects beautiful, ambitious women, like other rich men collect vintage cars. Makes them feel special, powerful, like they're part of something bigger and more important than themselves. Then he moves on when someone younger or more exciting comes along. Her voice was clinical, detached. Rachel's just his current acquisition. She won't be the last. Why'd you stay with him? Because leaving meant admitting I wasted 18 years on a man who never saw me as anything more than a trophy wife. Because I have a 15-year-old daughter and wanted to protect her from the truth about her father. She paused. And because I was genuinely afraid I'd given up so much of myself for his success that there wouldn't be anything left if I walked away. I reached across the small table and took her hand. She didn't pull away. Sophia, I came here tonight thinking I'd use you somehow. Get information about Owen. Maybe make him uncomfortable by befriending his wife. Strategic revenge for what he and Rachel did to my family. I paused. Now I realize you're not a strategy. You're a person who deserves significantly better than what you've been given. She squeezed my hand. So are you, Bryce. We sat there in that small coffee shop, 2 people who'd been betrayed by the same 2 people, finding something unexpected. Not love, not yet anyway, but genuine understanding and recognition. I want to see him lose everything, Sophia said quietly but firmly. Not just his reputation or his money. I want Owen to understand what it feels like to be systematically erased by someone you trusted completely. Then let's help each other, I said. No more secrets, no more pretending. We build our cases together, support each other through the divorces, and make sure they both understand exactly what they've thrown away. Partners, she said. Partners. We exchanged numbers, real contact information, not just Instagram handles. As we left the coffee shop, Sophia turned to me. Thank you for being honest with me tonight, even about your initial intentions. Thank you for not walking away when you figured out who I was. I stopped walking away from hard truths when I hired that private investigator. I'm done running from reality. Dean was waiting when I got home from meeting Sophia, sitting at the kitchen counter, laptop open, looking like he had something important to say. Dad, we need to talk, he said seriously. I poured water and sat across from him. What's on your mind? He turned his laptop toward me. On screen was a folder labeled Evidence in all caps. Inside were dozens of audio files, each labeled with dates spanning the past 14 months. What is this? Recordings of Mom's phone calls, talking to Owen, talking to her friends about Owen, planning when they'd meet up. His voice was steady, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. I started recording about a year ago when I knew something was wrong. The way she'd light up when her phone rang, how she'd leave rooms, to take calls, the way she started dressing different for work. Dean, that's illegal in Texas. You can't record someone without their consent. Maybe, but it's also proof. 23 hours of recordings, Dad. Mom talking about how Owen makes her feel alive. How she's planning to leave you once she gets a better settlement from the divorce. How she's been hiding money in a separate account for over 2 years, getting ready. The betrayal kept getting deeper, like peeling an onion of lies. Hiding money? Dean pulled up another file. Bank statements. Mom's been systematically transferring money from the joint account to a private one. Small amounts, few hundred here and there, but it adds up. She's moved almost $28,000 over the past 2 years. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I kept hoping I was wrong, that there was some explanation that made sense. But then she came home that night and told you she wanted a divorce, and I realized I'd been protecting her when I should have been protecting you. He closed the laptop. I'm done protecting her, Dad. I stood up and walked around the counter, pulling my son into a hug. He was almost as tall as me now, 16 going on 30. Thank you for telling me this, but Dean, I don't want you carrying this burden. She made it my burden when she decided to blow up our family. His jaw clenched. Paige cried herself to sleep last night, asking if it's her fault that Mom moved out. That hit like a punch to the gut. Where is Paige right now? Sleep over at Emma's house down the street. I told her you'd pick her up at 7 tomorrow morning. He paused, his expression darkening. Dad, there's something else. Something I found in Mom's medical records on her insurance portal. She had procedures at a women's clinic, 3 times in the past 4 years. The records call them pregnancy terminations. The room tilted. 3 terminations. 3 pregnancies she'd ended. Without my knowledge. Were they mine? Owen's? Someone else's entirely? Son, I'm genuinely sorry you had to see all of this. I'm not sorry. I'm angry. His voice was hard as steel. She lied to us for years, Dad. She stole from us. She ended pregnancies without telling you. She doesn't get to play victim now. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Can we talk about custody arrangements? I want the kids on weekends. I showed Dean the message. What do you think? I think she can go to hell, he said flatly. I'm not spending weekends watching her play house with Owen. Neither is Paige. She made her choice when she decided Owen was more important than her family. I can't legally keep you from her. The court will mandate visitation. I'm 16. Courts listen to teenagers about custody preferences, and Paige won't go anywhere without me. He looked at me directly. We're staying with you, Dad. Both of us. Mom made her choice. We're making ours. Later, that evening, I called Sophia. She answered on the second ring. Bryce, her voice was warm. I need to tell you something. My son has been recording Rachel's phone conversations for over a year. He has 23 hours of evidence, including discussions about her affair with Owen, plans to maximize her divorce settlement, and proof that she's been systematically hiding money from our joint account. Silence on the other end of the line. Then, that's significant evidence, Bryce. There's more. Medical records show she had 3 pregnancy terminations during our marriage without my knowledge. I don't even know if they were mine. Sophia's breath caught audibly. Bryce, I'm so sorry. The question is, what do we do with all this information? I don't want to weaponize my son's pain, but I also can't let Rachel and Owen walk away from this without consequences. My private investigator has evidence of Owen's affairs going back 5 years, Sophia said. Financial. Records showing he's been using company funds to pay for hotels, gifts, travel for his mistresses. That's embezzlement, corporate fraud. She paused. If we coordinate our evidence, if we build airtight cases together, we can make sure they both face real consequences, not just in divorce court, potentially criminal charges for Owen. You're talking about destroying his company. I'm talking about justice. Owen's board of directors includes my father and two of his longtime business partners. If they knew he was embezzling company funds for personal affairs, they'd remove him immediately. The shareholders would demand it. I thought about Dean, about Paige crying herself to sleep, about 3 years of systematic deception, about pregnancies ended in secret. Let's do it, I said. Let's show them both what consequences actually look like. Partners, Sophia said firmly. The mediation session was scheduled for Tuesday morning at 9. I sat across from Rachel and her attorney, Isabel Johnson, in a conference room that smelled like expensive furniture polish and broken dreams. Thank you all for coming, the mediator, Susan Reynolds, began. Today, we'll discuss initial custody arrangements and temporary financial support while the divorce proceeds. Isabel opened a thick folder. My client is requesting primary physical custody of both children, with Mr. Coleman receiving standard visitation every other weekend. Additionally, she's requesting temporary spousal support of $4,000 monthly and continued residence in the marital home during proceedings. I didn't react. Sean Murphy, my attorney, had prepared me for exactly this opening gambit. Mr. Coleman, Susan asked. I'm requesting primary physical custody, I said, looking directly at Rachel. Both children have clearly expressed their preference to live with me. Dean is 16, old enough for his opinion to carry significant legal weight with the court. Paige is 9 and doesn't want to be separated from her brother. Rachel's face flushed red. That's not fair, Bryce. You've been turning them against me. I haven't said a single negative word about you to our children, Rachel. But they're not blind or stupid. They can see what's happening to their family. This is ridiculous, Isabel interjected. Mrs. Coleman has been the primary caregiver throughout the marriage. She's entitled to custody preference. Has she been the primary caregiver? Sean asked mildly. Or was Mr. Coleman the parent who worked from home, while Mrs. Coleman worked 60-hour weeks at the office? He slid a document across the polished table. School records showing Mr. Coleman attended 93% of parent-teacher conferences over the past 5 years. Medical records showing he took the children to 87% of doctor appointments. Mrs. Coleman was building her career. Mr. Coleman was raising their children. Isabel scanned the documents, her expression tightening visibly. Furthermore, Sean continued smoothly, we have evidence that Mrs. Coleman has been systematically transferring marital funds to a private account without Mr. Coleman's knowledge or consent. $28,000 over the past 2 years. We're prepared to file a motion for immediate return of those funds, plus penalties for financial deception. The color drained completely from Rachel's face. How did you... It doesn't matter how we discovered this, I said, my voice steady and cold. What matters is that you've been planning this divorce for years while pretending everything was fine with our marriage. You've been stealing from our family to fund your exit strategy. That money was for emergencies, Rachel said weakly. Was Owen Mitchell an emergency? Sean asked. Because we also have evidence that a significant portion of those funds were spent on gifts for Mr. Mitchell, hotels and travel expenses related to your extramarital affair. Isabel held up her hand. We need a recess. I need to consult with my client privately. Take all the time you need, Sean said calmly. In the hallway, Sean turned to me. That went better than expected. Her attorney wasn't prepared for us to have financial documentation. What happens now? They'll regroup and try to negotiate a more reasonable settlement rather than have all of this come out in open court. The hidden accounts, the systematic deception, the affair, none of it looks good for her case. My phone buzzed. Text from Dean. How's it going? I replied. Good, she's rattled. Another text came through, this one from Sophia. Owen just received a letter from his board of directors requesting an emergency meeting for tomorrow morning. My father made sure they received copies of the expense reports showing company funds used for personal purposes. Owen's panicking. I smiled grimly. The pieces were falling into place, exactly as planned. 15 minutes later, we reconvened in the conference room. Rachel looked like she'd been crying. Isabel's expression was tight and professional. "My client is willing to agree to joint physical custody," Isabel said carefully. 50-50 split. She'll withdraw her request for spousal support in exchange for Mr. Coleman not pursuing the matter of the separate account. "No," I said firmly. Everyone in the room stared at me. "No," I repeated, looking directly at Rachel. "You don't get to steal from our family, lie to our children for years, destroy our marriage with your affair, and then negotiate like this is just a simple business transaction." I stood up slowly. "I want primary custody with you, getting every other weekend. The kids stay with me during the school week. You're returning every single dollar you stole from that joint account, that plus penalties. Or I'm filing criminal charges for theft." "You can't do that," Rachel said, her voice breaking. "Watch me. I've been accommodating and supportive our entire marriage, Rachel. I made myself smaller so you could shine brighter. I supported your career advancement while raising our children and building my business." My voice was steady, controlled. "But I'm done being accommodating. You made your choice to betray our family. Now live with the consequences." I walked out of the mediation room, Sean hurrying to catch up with me. "That was risky," he said. "I'm tired of playing defense, Sean. It's time to show her exactly who she's dealing with." Owen Mitchell's emergency board meeting happened 3 days after our mediation disaster. Sophia called me that evening, her voice electric with satisfaction. "It's done," she said. "The board voted unanimously to suspend Owen pending a full financial audit. My father presented comprehensive evidence of over $200,000 in company funds used for personal expenses over the past 3 years. Hotels, jewelry, travel expenses, all for his various affairs. $200,000? Owen's been doing this systematically for years, Bryce. He thought he was untouchable because the company was profitable, and he had personal relationships with some board members. He was wrong." She paused. "The board also discovered he gave Rachel a promotion last year that came with stock options worth about $60,000. The timing coincided exactly with the start of their affair. That's a clear conflict of interest violation. They're reviewing all compensation decisions Owen made without proper board approval. Rachel's promotion and bonus package are at the top of the list." 3 weeks later, Owen was officially removed as CEO of Mitchell Development and Construction. The audit uncovered years of systematically misappropriated company funds. Criminal charges for embezzlement and corporate fraud followed within days. Rachel was fired on the same afternoon Owen was removed. The company revoked her stock options and demanded immediate repayment of the $60,000 bonus she'd received. She had 30 days to return the money or face her own legal consequences. My divorce was finalized 2 weeks after that. I got primary custody of both Dean and Paige, exactly as I'd demanded. Rachel had visitation every other weekend, but only if the children agreed to go. The $28,000 in hidden funds was returned to our joint account, plus penalties for financial deception. Our house was sold, and the proceeds split equally after paying off the mortgage. My electrical business and all its assets remained mine. Her worthless stock options remained hers. Dean handled everything remarkably well. He'd been preparing himself emotionally for months, ever since he started recording those phone calls. Paige cried for a few days, then bounced back with the resilience kids possess. Children heal faster and more completely than adults ever expect them to. Sophia's divorce took much longer to finalize. Owen fought every single detail with expensive lawyers, tried to hide assets, attempted to delay proceedings, hoping she'd accept a smaller settlement out of frustration. None of his tactics worked. The evidence of his systematic infidelity and financial crimes was simply overwhelming. When it was finally over, Sophia received $80 million in assets, their house in West Austin, and full custody of their 15-year-old daughter, except during school breaks. 6 months after Owen was officially fired and facing federal criminal charges, I found myself having dinner at Sophia's new house. She'd moved out of their massive estate into something smaller but entirely hers. A beautiful craftsman home in Tarrytown with hardwood floors and built-in bookshelves. "I'm opening an art consulting business," she announced over wine and pasta, helping new collectors understand what they're buying, working directly with emerging artists who need guidance navigating the market. I found perfect office space in the arts district downtown. "That's incredible, Sophia. You're going back to what you love." "I'm also writing again," I said. Started keeping a detailed journal about everything that happened. The discovery, the investigation, the legal battles. My lawyer thinks it might make an interesting book someday. She reached across the table and took my hand. I care about you, Bryce, more than I expected to. You've been so much more than just a partner in revenge. You've been a genuine friend through the worst period of my life. I care about you too, I said honestly. But we shouldn't rush into anything romantic, she added carefully. We both need time to figure out who we are outside of our marriages, time to heal properly. I completely agree. Let's build something real and authentic this time, not just a reaction to what we lost. A full year later, I stood in Sophia's art gallery during the opening night of her second major exhibition. The space was packed with Austin's creative community, artists, collectors, musicians, writers. Sophia moved through the crowd with natural confidence, fully alive in a way I'd never seen before. Dean, now 17, was deep in conversation with one of the featured artists about digital art programs at the University of Texas. He'd decided to study electrical engineering with a focus on smart building systems, combining my practical skills with his tech interests. Paige, 10 now, sat in a quiet corner, sketching the crowd with remarkable attention to detail. She still spent every other weekend with Rachel, but those visits were careful and formal, different than before, but manageable. Sophia joined me in front of a large painting of storm clouds finally breaking apart to reveal clear sky and brilliant sunlight. We've come a long way from that first art gallery, she said softly. A year. Ago, we were both trapped in marriages that were slowly killing our spirits, I replied. Now look at us. You're running your own business doing work you love. The kids are thriving. We're free. Owen was eventually sentenced to 18 months in federal prison for embezzlement and fraud. Rachel testified against him during his trial, desperately hoping for legal immunity in her own case, but it didn't save what was left of her career in Austin. No respectable company would hire her after the scandal. I felt no satisfaction in their mutual downfall anymore, just closure. I don't want to talk about them anymore, I said to Sophia. Good, she said, smiling warmly. My daughter comes home from boarding school next weekend for Thanksgiving break. I'd like her to meet you properly. That's terrifying. All the best things are terrifying at first. Later that night, as we walked to our cars under the clear Austin sky, she thanked me for seeing her as a person worth, knowing for standing with her through the legal battles and emotional recovery. I thanked her for the same. I love you, she said simply. I love you too. We stood together under the stars, two people who had been systematically betrayed and broken down, now rebuilt into something stronger and more authentic than before. Rachel had tried to make me feel small and insignificant so she could feel more important and powerful. Instead, going through that fire had helped me discover exactly who I was beneath all the accommodations and compromises. Owen had tried to erase Sophia's identity to serve his ego and image. Instead, she'd reclaimed herself completely. That's the thing about true strength. It's not about dominating others or getting revenge. It's about refusing to let anyone else's betrayal define your worth or limit your future. Sometimes the people who try to destroy you end up teaching you exactly how unbreakable you really are.